Why fashion designers should use micro-influencers for Instagram influencer marketing versus macro-influencers. Instagram has 700 million monthly active users and 400 million daily active users. According to the research done by Convince and Convert, businesses generate $6.50 for every $1 invested in influencer marketing. Hi, this is Vishal Kalia, and in this video, we are going to talk about who are micro-influencers, what are the benefits of working with them, why you should pick a micro-influencer versus a macro-influencer, and why you as a fashion designer should really care because it can help you generate customers in a most cost-effective way. So keep watching. So micro-influencer marketing could generate you better ROI versus targeting top social media influencers, or as micro-influencers as we call them. So top Instagram influencers, are also known as macro-influencers, are the ones that have thousands to millions of followers versus micro-influencers who have followers between 1,000 to 10,000. So how do we define a micro-influencer? According to Dr. Jonah Berger, micro-influencers are not traditional celebrities, but rather individuals who work in their category and are truly knowledgeable, passionate, and authentic, and are seen as a trusted source when it comes to recommendations for what to buy. Let's look at some stats. According to a study done by Marketly, people with fewer than 1,000 followers get 8% like ratio for their Instagram account, while the influencers between 1 to 10 million followers have a ratio of around 1.7%. Another study done by Expert City says 82% of consumers are highly likely to follow a recommendation made by a micro-influencer compared to 73% who are highly likely to act on recommendation from an average person. Micro-influencers have 22.2 times more buying conversations compared to others. So what are the benefits for working with micro-influencers? So there are 4 key benefits. So let's look at each one of them. First one is high engagement. According to the study done by Marketly, of 800,000 Instagram influencers, among which most of them had a minimum following of 1,000 people, the study of approximately 5 million posts led to the discovery that more followers someone has, the lower is their engagement rate. As you can see in the graph, the engagement rate of influencers or micro-influencers who have followers around 1 to 5,000 is almost 8%. But as the number of followers increases, the engagement rate rapidly goes down, and the engagement rate of somebody who has about 150,000 followers compared to somebody who has 10 million followers, the engagement rate remains almost the same, which is around a little less than 2%, so I think around 1.7% in particular. But I know you would think that, hey, even though it's 1.7%, but then 1.7% of 10 million, it's still a lot of people compared to 1.7% of 100,000. Then it still is, doesn't it make sense for me to still pick macro influencers versus micro? But that leads us to our benefit number 2 of working with micro influencers, which is targeted audience. It's a simple math. Think about it. Let's say if a fashion designer who designs workout clothes, for example, collaborates with a social celebrity who has around 2 million followers. It can reach a big pool of audience, but 90% of them might not even be sports fans. So it would make more sense to activate 100 to 150 self-proclaimed athletes whose followers are actually interested in working out, and then you can spend your money with those micro-influencers and actually lead to a better sales ratio versus spending thousands of dollars to a macro-influencer and getting your brand in front of many people who might not even be your audience. Number 3rd benefit is more trusting. So Dr. Jonah Berger from Wharton School said 82% of consumers are highly likely to follow recommendations made by a micro-influencer. Since the micro-influencer does not have a huge following, the audience perceives that he or she is doing this because they love it, and they're not doing this for any financial motives. Hence, their trusting factor is much higher compared to a macro influencer who has 5-10 million followers. The audience knows that the post from this person is actually a sponsored post and they're doing it actually to make money, so they might not be even using the product, but they're just recommending it because the brand is paying them money, versus a micro influencer whose doing this product promotion because he actually believes in this particular product, and he has his account because he loves what he does. And last but not the least, number 4 is cost effective. So if you want to hire a macro influencer who has 5-10 million followers, you will have to pay them a significant amount of money to do a shout out for your particular fashion brand, versus a micro influencer who has less than who has around 1 to 10,000 followers. They might be able to give you a shout out just for the exchange of a free product. So it becomes much more cost effective for you as a fashion designer to concentrate more on micro influencers versus macro, because you can get a shout out from them just by giving you a free item, and the cost of the item might be much lower for you versus paying $5,000 to $10,000 to a macro influencers to get the similar ROI. So this leads us to our next section, which is how to pick a micro influencer. So there are 3 things I would consider before I pick a micro influencer for my particular fashion brand. First one is audience relevance. Are they targeting the audience who would be potential buyers for your particular fashion brand and for the product you're trying to sell? So for example, let's say your target audience is women age 40 to 55 years old who are making at least $100,000 a year, living in suburbs. Look at, when you're looking to pick a particular micro influencer, look at the people who are liking their post or commenting on their post, engaging with the particular micro influencer. If the audience is similar to the one audience who would potentially be your buyer for your product, then that's the right micro influencer for you. But if they're not, then that is not the right micro influencer for you. Number 2 is audience engagement. Are their audience engaging with the content, or have they acquired followers just through paid services? So typically, if you have around 10,000 followers, the audience like ratio or like rate should be around 4% depending on the industry. So if your micro influencer has 10,000 followers and only 20, 30 or 50 people are liking their each post, then the person might not be the right one. But if their like ratio to the number of followers is around 4%, then the person's followers actually might be legit. And then it could be a good micro influencer for you to pick for your fashion brand's promotion. And number 3 is the content quality. What is the quality of the content produced by the micro influencers? Because remember, if you are going to use a micro influencer to talk about your brand is going to get associated with that particular person. So make sure the quality of the content they're producing is in sync with the quality that you want it to be associated with. So how to pick a micro influencer? Make sure the audience is relevant to what you are targeting. Check for the audience engagement. And third, look for the content quality so that you can be associated with one that you see fit. So what categories are most influenced by micro influencers? According to the research done, there are 5 top categories that are influenced by micro influencers. First one is sporting goods and outdoor gear. Number 2 is fashion and footwear. Number 3 is fitness, nutrition, wellness. Number 4 is beauty products. And number 5 is consumer electronics. To sum up, as a fashion designer, you have a million things to do. It seems very easy that let me pick a macro influencer because they have a huge range, versus micro influencer where I have to put the effort to find those 50 to 100 or 150 of them, and there's a lot of work involved. But the truth is, you have to find what's right for your particular brand. And in this day and age, especially when you are a fashion designer on a budget, when you're starting out, micro influencer might be the right path for you versus macro influencers. So thank you very much for watching this video, and if you like this, please give us a thumbs up. And if you have any further questions regarding micro influencers or anything fashion marketing related, please leave it as a form of a comment and I will be more than happy to answer. So thank you very much and have a great day.